All right, I got to get out the door here. It's 8 a.m. on Tuesday. I got to get to work. But I'm over here by the refrigerator. I told you last week that I was running low. I did do some shopping. We'll deal with it tonight when I get home. But let me pull something from the freezer right now. So, this past summer, I grew a new tomato variety. This is called Genovese Castellato. I have to look on the seed pack, but these are delicious. It's my new favorite heirloom, and I had so many that at the end of the summer, I was processing, but I saved seed, but I also took some of these beauties and just threw them whole into this bag and into the freezer. And I had a couple of bags like this because I was overloaded with ripe tomatoes on the vine. And what happens is they freeze solid, and then when you thaw them, it's not like you're making caprese or anything. You can't slice them. They're going to turn to mush because of the ice crystals. But that flavor is freeze sealed in, baby. So they'll turn almost to mush. And we're going to take the skin off, take the core out, crush them up, and it's like crushed San Marzano tomatoes, but not San Marzano. These are the Genovese. They have an incredible flavor, and I'll show you what we're going to do with them tonight. I got to get off to work. See you this eve. $5:30. Meet me in the kitchen. All right, just walking in. Don't mind the hair. I had the hoodie on. It's chilly out. But I want to do this first thing right off the bat before I even go up and change. I'll explain in a minute. Come on over to the fridge with me. Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. So, we talked about the tomatoes this morning. They've thawed nicely. I've got some fresh mozzarella here. Let's bring that out. And then here I have that sourdough dough that I made on Sunday night. It is now Tuesday night. So this is a 48-hour proof. It already rose overnight. Now, let me get a tripod. I need both hands to do this. So, I like these yogurt containers. You can buy little proofing baskets for pizza dough, but these things work great. So, started the dough, fed the sourdough starter Sunday afternoon, got it nice and bubbly, and by about, 6 p.m., maybe getting closer to 7, it was active, real bubbly, so I started the dough Sunday evening around 7. Look at that. And then I let it rise overnight, room temperature, right on the counter, in bulk, and then cut it into 4 separate doughs, put them in these containers, and they've been in the fridge. So I have 2 more in there. Now, so this has been roughly 48 hours proofing. You've got a window of 24 to, I'd say, like 72. Otherwise, you should probably freeze it. So what I think I'm going to do is make these 2 pies tonight. And then see what my motivation is this week. I'm thinking maybe 2 more on Thursday to see if the extra 2 days proof has any effect on the flavor. It should. Okay, so you got these out, and that's why I was rushing to get in the house from work, because these have been in the refrigerator. You cannot roll this dough out. It will not stretch. It'll just come back on itself. It has to really warm up minimum an hour. So it's 5:30. I'm saying we'll make our pies around 7 p.m. So I just want this to rest. I just got in, I turned the heat on. Flour them a little with this 00, which is what they're made of, and just let them rest here. I'll put a towel over them, giving them enough space. If they want to rise a little on their own, they don't rise into each other. I put a towel on them. And we're just going to let those sit here at room temperature for a good hour and a half. And now I can go up and change, and then we'll start looking at those tomatoes. All right, it's been getting on 2 hours. It's 10 after 7. So I think this dough is probably well rested by now. And we'll stretch out into pizza dough. So let's take care of our sauce here. Now here's the tomatoes. Wow, they still have a little ice in them on the inside. But let's peel the skin. It'll come right off because they've been frozen. Look how much water's coming out of them. But also, look at that flesh. Bright red. Smells like a summer tomato. I've had them before, by the way. You know, these ones that I froze solid. That's how I know that you can't do much else with them. I think I made a soup, and it was delicious. Okay, so now I'm going to strain out some of this water because we don't want it too thin. It's got to go on our pizza. So let me get rid of some of the water. That is the thing. You'll have a lot of water from the ice crystals thawing out. But look. Just going to crush them up. Still some skin. Get rid of the skin. Ooh, there's still some ice crystals. I need to run my hands under some warm water. I'll be back. Okay, we do not need to cook this. It'll cook right on the pie. Oh, you know we are big on QC here. Quality control. Let's just taste the tomatoes before we do anything to them. I'm telling you, just throw them in a bag, solid, right off the vine. They taste like the summer. Great way to preserve tomatoes. Simple. A little salt. We do not need to cook them. They're going to cook right on our pie. A little crushed red pepper. I do not have any dried oregano, unfortunately, but I do have some basil around here somewhere. Oh, we have some thyme. Always nice with tomatoes. Put a little bit of thyme in there. And somewhere I have some dried basil. I just don't see it. Ah, here it is. Up on the windowsill. Yeah, that'll really give it that pizza flavor if we don't have oregano. Little basilica. Little black pepper never hurts. And let's go with just a dash of extra virgin olive oil. And one of the tricks to a good pizza sauce, just a touch of red wine vinegar. Not much. Now let's mix that around. Crush up the tomatoes. And give this a taste. And again, salt is really a friend to the tomato. Could use just another little pinch. Really brings out, it pulls the water out from inside the cells. That's a tomato sauce right there. So, all that's left now, I will grate up some of this mozzarella with a little Parmigiano Reggiano. And then we're going to roll out our dough. And here's what I was talking about. I've been meaning to give this a try. This comes with the Breville. Comes with your, little sheet pan. There's also a rack. And what I also love about this unit is it tells you right on the front of the glass, broil, toast, bake, where you want your shelf, and the middle one says pizza. Let's get that on there. They don't call it the Smart Breville for nothing. So middle is pizza. Now what I'm questioning, I suppose I should have looked at the manual, but I don't know if you preheat this. It fits in there pretty well, but I think what I'm going to do is this. We have 2 pies. I'm going to do a test, and they're both going to be the same. I'm going to spray this one with the coconut oil spray and build the first pizza on here and then bake it. The second one, I'm going to preheat this, but I happen to have one of these that I use out over the Weber on the wood fire. So we're going to try one where the dough is actually touching this. It goes in cold. And then the second one, we'll put this back in, build the pizza on here, and put it on the hot. Let's just see if there's any difference. I have not made a lot of pizza in here, so it's worth playing around. So for the first pie, like I said, we're going to build it cold on the tray. So let's go, and again, look, pizza. Broil pizza, says 450. I don't know. Can you crank the temp? No, it won't let you go past 450. Probably because of the, if I go to roast, look, broil I can get 500. Roast I can crank. No, 450 I guess is max. Unless you're broiling. Huh, interesting. But pizza wants to give you a max, but it goes instantly to convection. So 450 convection. Let's get that heated up. All right, now we'll go roll out our pie. All right, it's pie time. I've got my sauce here. Here's my mozzarella, and I grate the Parmesan right in with it, and then I mix them together. So it's the 2 cheeses mixed. Let's take one dough and put it aside. I'll wrap it in this towel so it doesn't dry out. We'll set that one to the side. That's pie number 2. And we'll get started on pie number 1. Little 00 on the board here. And what I like to do is start working the outside, leave the middle puffed up a little, right? That's how we avoid that super thin center that then tears. Start rotating it. I'm using my fingers toward the outer edge. That's our heat. We're at 450, so we are ready to go. Now I will make my way out from the middle, but I'm still leaving it a little thicker in the middle. Oh, this dough is beautiful. Overnight sourdough, no commercial yeast, overnight rise, and then 48-hour cold proof in the fridge. Now, give it a good work. I'm not going to do the flipping up in the air thing. There's not enough room here for one thing with the camera set up. But I am going to give it a nice good stretch. Really pull those gluten strands. It's getting nice and thin, and it's just about the size of my tray. So let's give the tray a little coconut oil. So hopefully we don't stick, right? Okay, get our dough, give it another little stretch. Out on the pan, give it a pull, tear a hole in it. It's pretty thin in some spots. Okay, I think I'm not going to mess with it too much more. That's pretty thin. And I don't want to break through because then the sauce is going to stick to the pan. So let's get some sauce on here. It is still releasing water. I'm going to try to leave a little of the real wet stuff behind. Wow, we're just about going to make it for the 2 pies. Let me actually use my fingers to spread some of this out. A little thin on the sauce. Get a little more on there. Well, that's pretty good. If I break it up, move it around. Let's get some cheese on here. And just a small drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. And in she goes. It says 19 minutes. It is the smart oven, but I'm going to be keeping a close eye on it. This is a total experiment, y'all. Oh, I got my nice jar of Savoy cabbage kimchi I just put up. It's only the first day. It hasn't even begun to ferment yet. Well, if you look, we got some action. I have it on my calendar. Tomorrow's the 2-day mark, so tomorrow I'll give it a burp. Saturday I'll give it a burp. Monday will be 7 days. I'll taste it. 7 to 14 days is the sweet spot. Okay, camera off. I'll turn it on as the pizza's looking ready. Alright, it's been 5 minutes or so. This is on convection. And what I'm noticing, we're getting some nice melting. Again, this is a first. I'm just experimenting. And what I'm noticing is it's convection, but I'm going to spin it anyway. Is that it's a slower cook, right? If I was out on the Weber now, I'd be at 8, 7, 8, maybe even 900 degrees with a wood fire. I'd cook a pie in 2-3 minutes. So you've got a longer cook here, but it's looking pretty good. I am not disappointed so far. But we do want to get that crust on the bottom. We want some browning on the dough. Again, it's the smart oven. It told me it wanted 19 minutes, so it's only been in for 6 or so. Let's see what happens. Alright, I'll be back. 13 left. Let's take another look in about 6 or 7 minutes. Alright, the clock is telling us 5 minutes, under 5 minutes left, but that's a guideline. We don't want to rely on that. We want to rely on our nose, our eyes. I don't want to burn the cheese too much. It's already browning, and I think I'm going to pull it because we got a nice, I mean, it's not brown on the bottom, but it's got a nice little crunch. I'll give it 2 more minutes at the risk of burning that cheese. However, new development. Well, I'm actually going to pull it because that cheese is looking real brown, and then I'll give you the new development. We want to let it rest anyway, let the cheese settle out. I'm going to take the pizza right off the tray onto the wood. Alright, here's our pie. I let it rest a little. The new development I was talking about, we're not going to cook the second one in here. I turned on the oven, and I've got it going up to 550. It's got a ways to go, but we're going to contrast this cooked in the Breville on the pan with this on the stone in the oven at 550. I think that's a better contrast, because honestly, how often am I really going to cook pizzas in here? I have a beautiful stone in the oven. That Frigidaire oven cranks. You know, and it's winter. I mean, normally I'd be doing this out on the Weber with the Weber pizza rig over a wood fire. But that came with the oven. I wanted to give it a try. And actually, this doesn't look too bad for a toaster oven. No big browning on the bottom. But it's pizza. In fact, this is dang good pizza. Those tomatoes, again, are so sweet. Nice. So we have to wait for that oven to come up to 550. It's going to be a few minutes. I'm going to have another slice or two of this. I'll put a couple away for lunch, if possible. And when that oven's ready to go, I'll roll the dough out. I'll get it all ready, and then we'll pop it in. You don't need to see the whole prep again. But I'm interested to see the Breville oven on the tray versus the screen on the stone with the two different temperatures. This is pretty good though. Good crust. Okay, pie number 2 is ready to go in. The oven's not quite up to 550. We're hitting 520 right now, but I think I'm going to jump the gun because it is a Tuesday night. It's 8 p.m. and I need to wrap things up at some point, but looking good. And this one is just going to be purely visual. I'm just going to have to keep an eye on it. It's going right on the stone on this screen. And I'm just going to have to I'll put the light on, and it's just going to be totally visual. Now, I did think that when this pie came out, we taste the slice, by the way, those tomatoes. There's nothing like a San Marzano on a pizza, trust me. But these have such a distinct and different flavor. I'm really enjoying it. And I can't wait to grow. By the way, it's almost February. It won't be more than 3 weeks or so before I get some seeds started in here for 25 tomato plants. But they're just so delicious on there. Now, I have to apologize. I thought when this one came out, we would do a little, like a visual comparison, how they cook together. But it's not going to be possible because pie number 1 does not exist anymore. I don't know what happened to it. It was here a minute ago. But we'll take a look at pie number 2, see how the higher heat screen on stone stacks up against the Breville tray. All right, let's have a look in there. Obviously, cooking a lot quicker than our Breville pie. Yeah, this is superior. I can see it already, and it's only been in a couple of minutes. The higher heat, that's what you want for pizza every time. All right, I'll just see you guys up at the counter when I pull her out. Looking good. All right, as far as I'm concerned, it's a no-brainer, you guys. The oven with the stone. You've got to have a stone. Now, we never did look at the bottom of the other one. This one's also not super brown. But the difference is there's a little crunch on the bottom. But there's also the dough is nice and light. The other one was so paper thin and cooked right through in there slow. So all the moisture cooked out of it. It was a good pie. It was tasty as heck. But taste isn't everything with pizza. It's got to have the right texture, the right crunch to soft inside the dough. I made both pies exactly the same, just tomato. I didn't really let this one settle like I should have. Getting too excited. Improvement for sure. The flavors are the same. It's all about what happens to the dough when it cooks. I'll recap. First pie was delicious. And I rolled both doughs out to about the same thickness. But we put the first one on a cold tray and put it in a 450-degree oven. Meaning it's cooked through slow at a lower temperature. Dried out the dough in the middle. This was cooked at a much higher heat on a stone that was already hot. So it cooks quicker. This is the way to go. Nice little science experiment for a Tuesday night. I will see you all for the next episode.
Come on, let's do it.
All that footage was shot Tuesday of last week. It is now, well, as I'm shooting, it's now Saturday, and I'm trying to get the show edited and posted on YouTube. As you know, we come out on Sundays. But that was all shot on Tuesday. I know it's a long show. I apologize. But let me just recap by saying I did do the Thursday night experiment. I didn't film it. But I did 2 more pies on Thursday. Skipped the Breville. We already decided. But I did them in the oven that same way. And, yeah, the 72-hour dough was noticeable. It had more flavor to it. That's the thing with sourdough. It's long, slow, cold rise. Brings out flavor. So that was it. And so now it's Saturday night as I shoot this. And I did that January thing. I'm not going to say the meme name of it because it's ridiculous. But it's been since Christmas weekend. Not a drop. I had a half a glass of this tequila blanco. And I think it's evident that I have a buzz on already. So much for tolerance.